So continuing under our overall theme of reviving the economy, let's zoom into our partner state for this eighth national forum. We're talking about Telangana. Telangana has been attracting investors and pulling in opportunities at a rapid pace recently. So this discussion is about, what makes Telangana shine. What is the state government doing differently to enable businesses with a positive impact on its overall supply chain as well? And how does it facilitate business and investment? So, with me on the panel is our chief guest, Minister Shri K.T. Ramarao. He's the Cabinet Minister from Telangana for IT, ENC, MA, UD, and a whole host of other things, including industries and commerce for the government of Telangana. We also have Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, the Principal Secretary of Industries and Commerce, along with Information Technology, Electronics and Communications as well. And we have Mr. Dilip Chenoy, the Secretary General of FICCI. Moderating this entire discussion would be Mr. Pranjal Sharma. He's a renowned economic analyst, advisor, and author. And the closing remarks will be given by the SVP and Chief Corporate Affairs Officer from United Breweries. So, handing over to Pranjal for the moderation, please.
Thank you so much, Manish, and a warm welcome to Minister Ramarao and our panelist and Mr. Jayesh Ranjan as well. I think, I'd like to begin with saying that I've tracked India's economic reforms since 1991, when we opened up. And in this 30-year career, I can say that while there are a lot of variables and uncertainties about any country's economic growth, one thing which is certain is that it's driven by the states. India can grow as good and as well as what states do, and therefore it's very critical that the changes that we're seeing in states like Telangana are so critical. They are appreciated, and the collaboration between industry and the state government is emphasized and enhanced. With this, I'd like to request Mr. Ramarao to talk about what's happening in Telangana, but also the vision for where we are headed, because once that is established and that context is set, I think we can dive into some of the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead of us. With this, I'd like to request Honorable Minister to address us.
Thank you, Pranjal. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you to PAFI for giving us an opportunity to be a partner state. Telangana has been a partner in many growth stories across various enterprises, in India. And I'm delighted that we also got an opportunity to partner with the prestigious PAFI. What makes Telangana an attractive destination? What makes it shine? And what is it that our state government is doing differently? I think the most important aspect about our approach towards attracting new investment and creating local employment is the highest level of trust and respect that we actually repose in our investors. We don't look at investor as someone who would only make an economic investment in my state, but in fact, we look at an investor as a partner in our growth story. We respect every investor because, as we all know, in fact, across the world, governments by themselves can only create so much employment. But I think if we take into factor all the employment that gets created by the private enterprises, by the entrepreneurs, then your respect, your admiration for wealth creators and entrepreneurs would actually grow manifold. Now, in India, unfortunately, we are not really known for a culture of respecting our entrepreneurs and respecting our wealth and employment creators. But that is where Telangana, in fact, has been doing very well. We respect our taxpayers, we respect our investors. Honorable Chief Minister, Shri KCR, never fails to remind us, that in pursuit of new investors, typically we tend to forget about our existing investors. That's one other thing Telangana does very well. What we do is we believe that our existing investor, if they are handled and if they are taken care of very well, then they would be your biggest brand ambassadors. And this, of course, matters to a new state and to a progressive state like Telangana a lot. In fact, the level of trust that we bestow on our investors can be shown or showcased with one simple example. Telangana was the first state in India, much before Invest India was launched, much before the ease of doing business rankings were launched. We were the first state in India back in 2014, September and October, who had allowed for self-certification by the industry. What that means is, if you want to set up a factory in Telangana, you do not need any clearance from any government, meaning no state government clearance, no local government clearance, local government in the sense the rural local body, Gram Panchayati, or even the municipal, municipality or the urban local body. Now, this is something unique because we believe when someone is investing into our state, they would have done the due diligence, and when they comply and when they actually certify that they are in compliance with the law of the land, we will take their word as is. And therefore, I think this is one area where Telangana has shown to the rest of the country that the investors will also act responsibly if we bestow enough faith and trust in them. Sometimes, some states had considered this as a misadventure, but we truly believed otherwise, and we went about it. And today, till date, I can tell you very proudly that there have been no violations whatsoever of this self-certification system. In fact, our industrial policy itself is named TS iPass. What that means is Telangana State Industrial Project Approval Self-Certification System, which in itself is very self-explanatory. We've also built a very strong reputation for caring for our existing investors, as I pointed out. Whenever we've heard any kind, see, if you look around in India, the relations between the industrial management versus workers also sometimes get to be, painful reminders of how things can go wrong. But in Telangana, whenever we've had any kind of an issue or even an inkling that trouble is brewing, we've been very, very alert, very, very proactive, reached out and ensured that not even a single such incident has happened. We've seen such incidents elsewhere in India. I do not want to name names, but most certainly we've seen it all. So we've been able to successfully, ensure that large industries, in fact, have been taken care, and so have, more importantly, the small and the medium enterprises also. Because our Chief Minister keeps also reminding us that the big boys, the large investors, can take care of themselves because their reputation, their size precedes them. So therefore, they're always welcomed with the red carpet. But those who need hand-holding are really the small and medium enterprises, and we've been extra careful, and we've been very, very active when it comes to taking care of our small and medium entrepreneurs as well. And more importantly, Telangana and government remains sensitive and responsive to the requirements of industry all the times. In fact, when COVID hit us, it was all confusing times for all of us. But we ensured that there was not a single day of disruption because our investors here in Telangana have global service level agreements. For example, Boeing here, when they reached out to us and when they said, we have to supply fuselage to our factory in America, how do we ensure that the service is not disrupted? We went out of our way and we ensured that nothing was disrupted, and they remain thankful for that. Even myself and my team of officers, including Jayesh Ranjan, we're all just a text away. We're all just a WhatsApp message away to the large investing community, be it existing investors or even our prospective investors. That reflects in our repeat investments. Now, how can you tell if your existing investor is happy? I think the only way you can tell that is by way of their repeat investments they make. In fact, more than 24% of the investments that we have received, of the $32 billion worth of investments we've received in the last 7 years, have been from existing investors. Just to give you one example, Mr. Sandeep Somani, who was the former, I think, president of FICCI as well. He's a president of a company called HSIL. Now, HSIL had 2 investments in the state of Telangana prior to the formation of the state. But after the formation of the state in the last 7 years, they have invested in another 6 projects. Now, that goes to show you the kind of faith our investors have had in us. And how do we facilitate business and investment? We have a very professional setup called as Invest Telangana. In fact, much before Government of India thought of lateral entries and getting in professionals from private sector into government, We have done it already. In fact, we have young professionals from industry working very actively, who have almost 7 to 10 years of background in relevant industry. They have been appointed as directors in the government of Telangana. And these are the people who make first level contact with industries and guide them about our policies, infrastructure, etc., in a very, very professional manner. At an appropriate time, of course, myself and my principal secretary, Jayesh Ranjan, we also get into the picture. We start engaging and we start giving them the confidence about the fullest government support that they can expect with respect to their projects. Unlike many other states, in fact, in the last 7 years, we have never conducted a single investment session, or a economic conclave. I'm not saying that's the way to go, but I'm saying that's something, in spite of not doing, Telangana has still made its presence felt across the corporate sector in India by our targeted approach, by our precision approach, and by ensuring that investment decisions which are made in a timely manner are given the much needed individual attention. I think that's important. In a conclave, you'll get to meet thousands of people, hundreds of people, but you won't be able to give that much needed individual comfort, which is what Telangana has done. So why should anybody go to Telangana? Of course, I would love to believe that we are the most progressive state in the country in terms of the policy, because our policy allows for self-certification. Our policy promises 15-day clearances by statute, and if we don't deliver on the 15-day window, on the 16th day, it's a deemed approval, again by statute. And our policy also, in fact, has ensured that red tape gives way to red carpet by way of ensuring that penalties are levied even on senior bureaucrats at the principal secretary's level, almost to the tune of rupees 1,000 per day, if they are held responsible for the delay in giving a clearance. In fact, what is even more exciting is, typically when an investor, especially foreign investors, when they are looking at India with intent, they tend to go through Bombay or Delhi. They tend to look at India through the prism of New Delhi. Now, one thing I keep telling all the investors who I meet is that please don't judge us or please don't look at us through the prism of New Delhi. And the reason why I say this is because while the overarching policy making might lie with Government of India, the action really is in the states. So it makes a great deal of sense to engage directly with the states, and especially progressive states like Telangana. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, while the overall, FDI related, ratios, etc., or even the tariff agreements, etc., or even the trade agreements, etc., free trade agreements, etc., could be made by Government of India, the real functional details when it comes to making business work lie with the states. Land, for instance, Telangana has a large land bank, possibly one of the largest land banks for the Industrial Infrastructure Corporation of the state of Telangana, called as the TSIIC. We have nearly 200,000 acres of land available at our disposal, readily available at our disposal for industrial usage. We also promise high quality power, 24/7 high quality power. And I'm also excited and happy to share with you that not only is this uninterrupted high quality power, but also, in fact, we are the second largest renewable energy producer in the country after Karnataka, which again goes to show you our commitment to environment. And also, more importantly, water, which is much required, for industrial usage. We have embarked on a large project across the state of Telangana about 4 years ago, called as Mission Bhagirath. Now, Mission Bhagirath envisioned a provision of tap water connection to each and every home, each and every one of the 10 million homes in Telangana. The project has already been commissioned about a year ago, and I'm happy to share with you that from this project, where we had laid more than 140,000 kilometers of pipeline, 10% of the water is also earmarked for industrial consumption. So no matter where you put up a plant in the state of Telangana, water is also not an issue, not a concern for that particular industry. So besides water, power, and land, of course, what you would also require is quality human resources. Now, the state of Telangana has a very unique program called as the Telangana Academy for Skill and Knowledge. TASK is the abbreviated form of it. What we promise our prospective investors is that we will train, if you are willing to share with us the kind of manpower you would require, the kind of skill set you would require, we will train them at our cost. Say you need 100 people that you would like to employ. We will train about 200, and then you can cherry pick the top 100. The idea is we would love to provide locals as your employees. We love to ensure that locals get the significant chunk of your employee force. Now, some states have come out with a very regressive policy of local reservations, 75%, 50%, etc. What we've done in Telangana is we've flipped it. We said, we will give you the usual incentives as per policy, industrial policy, and we will ensure that you get it no matter who you hire. But if you hire locals, we'll actually give you additional incentives. We'll give you additional incentive on capital subsidy. We'll give you additional incentives on power. We'll give you additional incentives on SGST, etc. Now, that's how Telangana has been reinventing the policy, reinventing the idea of ensuring locals also get employment. Of course, we offer attractive incentives, like any other country, attractive fiscal, any other state fiscal incentives. But where Telangana again is different is, if you are willing as a prospective investor to share with us what any of my competition has offered you, we are more than happy to either meet that offer or possibly beat that offer also. Now, that is where Telangana, in fact, has been doing stellar work, and that is where Telangana has also been scoring over our competition by way of this flexibility. We also offer non-financial advantages. Now, what does that mean? Investor would only be happy if the government is stable and also able in terms of quick decision making, quick policy making. That's where Telangana also, in fact, scores over other states. We have an able leader in the form of our Chief Minister, who's been running a very, very steady government without any issues. And also, more importantly, he's been quick and decisive when it comes to taking decisions that are relevant and pertinent from the industry perspective. We have an extremely congenial industrial climate in our state, where the relationships between the workers and the management have been harmonious, and wherever there was any inkling, like I pointed out, the government has been proactive and has jumped right in to ensure that there is no untoward incident. What are the sectors that are important for Telangana? What are the sectors that are best suited for Telangana? We have prioritized 14 sectors which we believe are ideally suited, and that includes IT, information technology, electronics, life sciences, pharmaceuticals, biotech, medical devices, defense, aerospace, food processing, textiles, automotives, including electric vehicles, plastics and chemicals, gems and jewelry, retail, logistics. I can go on. But the point is, Telangana is welcoming of investments of many kinds, and we believe that as a state, we've been setting new benchmarks in policy making, in ensuring that industry receives the much needed support. And lastly, but more importantly, Telangana has ensured that wealth creators and entrepreneurs and employment generators from the private sector feel respected and feel at home, and are treated as partners and not necessarily as investors. Once again, I thank PAFI for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you, Minister. I find it so heartening when a leader like you uses words like trust, faith, and respect, because that's something, the relationship between industry, government, and society in India has been very, very fraught. And the fact that we need to enhance the trust between these three key pillars of our society and economy is absolutely critical. And what you're referring to is about taking care of the existing investors. And if I may, just a quick question to you. One thought which comes to mind is predictability. One of the concerns for investors, both domestic and foreign, is often that what a government says once, it changes after a while. And for any investor, predictability for a 5 to 10 year period is absolutely critical, because once the rules are laid, they accept the rules and they play with those rules for the next few years. But it's unfortunate that India is sometimes seen occasions where different governments within the state and even at the national level, you change rules so fast that people don't find they find it difficult to keep pace with it. Any thoughts on that?
Well, Pranjal, one thing, in fact, we've been extremely boringly very, very predictable. In fact, as a government, the last 7.5 years, we've been quite boring in that sense. We've not brought in any excitement by way of sudden change of policies or radical shifts in dynamics, etc. But I can tell you one thing, what we've done successfully, I think, which no matter who what happens next with our political fortunes. What we've done is we have built institutions that will outlast individuals. We've built processes that will outlast people. So no matter what government changes there are, no matter what bureaucratical changes there are, I think once you build processes and institutions that will outlast individuals and personal perceptions, etc. And once the investors start experiencing the benefits of those changes that we've made, those institutional long-term changes that we've made, I think it will be very difficult for any successive government, if it is not us, for them also to be able to change it, touch it, and tamper with it. So I think once you build such processes, which are accepted by the public, which are accepted by the industry, then it, I think, brings in a lot of predictability, a lot of comfort, a lot of policy continuity.
Minister, you said something which is so critical, because if we can bring those institutions at a national level, and I think Telangana is showing the way for other state governments to create these institutions, it will be, in my view, a huge game changer, because that's really the one key thing. You mentioned the taking care of existing investors, and that's also very fascinating, because in the rush to get, even from a corporate perspective, in the rush to get new customers, companies often forget their existing customers. And from a government perspective, you refer to taking care of them, but are there new structures or processes or departments that you've created to get constant feedback and perhaps problem resolution from the factory level and above on how the existing investors are doing?
Well, I'll say one thing quickly before I jump into a response to your question. I was living in the United States. I lived in the United States for a while. This was, a long time back. It seems like a few lifetimes ago now. But when I was living there, I used to be a customer of AT&T, the mobile phone provider. So it was funny that, I was a loyal customer. I never used to get many calls, and, I was never given the new offers that they would give to a prospective new customer. And that used to really, really upset me. A lot of my colleagues and other friends who used to switch plans, who were disloyal, so to speak, they used to get the benefit of switching. And the loyal customer, wouldn't get the same benefit. So that used to irk me quite a bit. So I think part of that also possibly played in to our policy making, and therefore we really, really value our existing investors also. Now, going to your question, I would say this. Not only have we built an extremely congenial atmosphere in the state where we interact regularly with our existing investors, we've also built some very interesting institutions. In fact, I didn't get the opportunity to say it. When I said we take care of our small and medium enterprises, what I meant was I've reached out. In fact, I went and met myself and Principal Secretary Jayesh. I went and met the Reserve Bank of India's governor. In fact, I am possibly the only industry minister in this country who's ever went and met the Reserve Bank of India governor. And why did I do it? I did it because, in spite of Reserve Bank of India's clear directive, the SARFAESI Act is being, in fact, ruthlessly invoked by the banks. You as a small and medium entrepreneur, even a default of one or two payments, and that being the trigger, if banks start invoking SARFAESI without much thought, without conducting a techno-economic viability study, which is what they're bound to do by book if they go, TEV study as it is called, then that becomes a huge impediment, a huge challenge, and that pushes the institution, that pushes that entrepreneur into incipient sickness. Now, what we have done in Telangana is we've launched a new institution called as the Telangana Industrial Health Clinic Limited. It's a separately held company which is owned by the government of Telangana. And what this institution does, Pranjal, is they actually look at anybody who's in incipient sick stage, anybody who's about to go sick. What they do is they actually handhold them. They talk to the banks. We actually ensure that the investors are given the much needed comfort. We've done that with a number of small and medium enterprises. And now this is another very good example of what Telangana's model can be emulated by Government of India's MSME ministry particularly. If our MSME industry is given that comfort, that we are here to handhold you, we are here to guide you between the banks and all the vagaries of what all you have to go through to raise financing and to continue to work, especially in the onslaught of something like a pandemic. I think governments need to do that extra bit. I've also, in fact, returned to Government of India when they announced that large 20 lakh crore package which unfortunately, according to me, has not really helped. Many industries, and I've been really chasing. I've been really wanting to find out from anybody in the industry as to how much help they've gotten from this package. I've hardly seen anybody, getting any help. So I've written to Government of India saying, why don't you tweak even this package to suit more MSMEs so that you give them that much needed financial stimulus. So we've not only created institutions to support our existing investors, we've also championed their causes with Reserve Bank of India, with Government of India as well. So we have become their advocates, policy advocates for change, etc. as well. So that gives them that added comfort and extra, advantage in dealing with a state such as ours.
That's brilliant. From a adversarial position that many governments take with business owners, because they're always been traditionally seen as exploitative, and unfortunately, thankfully, that's going away now with efforts like yours. I think what you've said, and the clinic or health clinic that you said is a brilliant model. Again, I think it's going to set the benchmarks for the rest of the country.
I want PAFI to evangelize it, Pranjal. I want PAFI to really evangelize it, talk about it more, because I think, unfortunately in our country, the states don't get to meet each other very often. The big brother role that needs to be played by Government of India is not played very often. So therefore, institutions such as PAFI need to evangelize, talk about these models, advocate them to various states, and also guide us. Also tell us what other states are doing successfully. Because I'm not in competition with Tamil Nadu or Karnataka or Maharashtra. I'm in competition today with China, Malaysia, Indonesia. We as a country need to understand we'll have to collaborate on some accounts and also compete on others, on other fronts. So therefore, I request PAFI to do that advocacy, to do that evangelizing of what Telangana is doing well and what some other state is doing well, so that we can learn from each other, understand, and not reinvent the wheel, and not really go through the whole drill.
That's wonderful. And, I think I'm sure Ajay and all the colleagues at PAFI will do that. But I'm going to be delighted to write about it, because this is something which I find extremely fascinating. And, I'm also at various global fora where I talk about what's happening in India. And these are the examples which really turn the minds and impress potential investors, and say that, there is care being given to investors, the same kind of care that you give to the marginalized. You have to give the same kind of care to wealth generators and employment creators. With your permission, Minister, I'd like to request Jayesh also to add his thoughts and comments on some of the ideas we have, and then I'd like Dilip and other panelists to come in as well. So Jayesh, may I request you to share your thoughts? At a bureaucratic level and the government systemic level.
Pranjal, before I let Jayesh jump in, if you will excuse me, because I have to run somewhere. I think my more than able colleague Jayesh will take it from here on. I think he has.
Thank you so much for joining. And again, I can tell you that at a personal level, I'm very impressed to hear everything that you said. I think Telangana is setting the benchmark for the country in so many ways. Thank you for joining us.
So, Minister,
after you listen to Jayesh, so please continue listening to him. Yeah, cheers.
Minister, before we let you go, can I request Dilip to say quickly a few words, and then we'll go back to Jayesh. Dilip?
I don't need a vote of thanks, Ajay. I think I'll just run. I don't need a vote of thanks. You've always been a great champion for all of us.
No, I think not giving vote of thanks, but he's one of the panelists. So Dilip, quickly before.
Okay, let's listen to Jayesh. I mean, Honorable Minister has said everything that has to be done. I was going to give an example which the Minister gave himself. I was going to talk about Sandeep Somani and his investment. The other investment I was going to talk about was Apollo, which is also expanding there and expanding to different sectors. But, if I can just say that the minister has actually touched upon many things, right? And one thing which he's missed out is his really attention to gender diversity. So they've actually set up, a V Hub there for looking at women entrepreneurs. They have actually the industrial park, their Flow Industrial Park has actually come up. So it is not only focused there. So there's constant clarity in in what the government would like to do, certainty, huge amount of confidence. In fact, we partner Telangana State in the wings, right? And one of the challenges, and it's so definitive what he was. The first time when we had done wings there, he had an agenda to address a steel plant issue in the state. The second time, which is just before the lockdown, when we did wings and we had the civil aviation minister, they said we want more airports in the state. So I think the whole strategy and the plan that they have, which you've seen elements of it there going, being mentioned by the minister, is very very effective. I think the whole thing of continuity and championing the cause of industry, Pranjal, which you caught on, was very effective. I think industry sees in the minister a really champion for its cause, and it's got a lot of confidence. In fact, the discussions that happen are very clear, and there's no ambiguity in it. There are challenges, but the minister always finds an interesting solution or an interesting thing to come in. So I don't want to say anything more. I know the minister wants to leave, but Jayesh and me can, continue this conversation after the minister leaves. In fact, he will be in Dubai maybe around the 10th, 11th of November, looking at investments, and there's a lot of excitement in that city, awaiting his arrival. So I think it shows a proactive nature in going out and addressing it one-to-one, not one-to-many.
Thank you,
I must
Dilip.
add, Dilip, and to Minister, I'm currently in Armenia, and even small countries like Armenia, I'm here for a conference where I'm going to talk about what's happening in India. They're very keen to engage directly with state governments like yours to see whether, especially at the mid-level companies, small and medium companies collaboration. So there is, as you said, the large companies have that footprint, but the small companies need that kind of support that you're offering. So, I'm it's fantastic, the work that you've done, and I'm sure with the collaboration with Pafi and Fiki, there's so much more we can achieve. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, guys, and I have to go. My apologies. Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Jesh, would you like to continue from here or change?
Yeah, sure. So just add a couple of points to what Honorable Minister mentioned about the way we offer this ease of doing business. So he spoke about multiple reforms that we have carried out through our TS IPAS law. He also told about the responsibility that the state takes in providing skilled manpower. These are certain things which the industry really appreciates. In fact, some of you may be aware that in the last 7-8 months, for example, we have really taken lots of very big ticket, high profile investments. They could have, and I feel very proud about many of you would have read about a Kerala based company, a garment manufacturing company, which
yes,
had some.
Kitex.
Yeah, so everyone gives their example, but I feel even prouder to tell about one more company that's also in public domain, but not much is spoken about them. This is a company called Triton, Triton. It's an American company. They were earlier into solar. They're one of the market leaders in solar panels, solar cells, but now they have decided to move into EVs, electric vehicles, and they were obviously India is such a large market and a location which no one can ignore. And this company also has Indian origin promoters. So they were very keen to set up something in India. And on their own, they were led to 2-3 states. And again, I don't want to name any particular state. But at the end of the day, they had signed up with that state. They were actually in the process of finalizing the date for meeting the chief minister of that state, doing a handshake ceremony, signing up with them. And somehow someone told them that, did you ever think about Telangana? Did you speak to anyone in Telangana? And somehow I got connected with them. And over a video call, I explained to them that you are welcome to go to any state in the country, but just evaluate us on what advantages we offer. And after 3 months, the project was shifted lock, stock and barrel to Telangana. And I can share one thing. I mean, this is not very unusual, but what is really unusual is, which is what I want people to really take note of, is that the previous state where they had signed up, where almost 99% it was a done deal, they were offering much more incentives than we offered. So it is not so many times when, let us say, a Kitex deal or some other deal comes our way, there's a belief that it is like a race to the bottom. We must have given them the moon and won them over. But it is not like that. In Triton's case, actually, we are giving less incentives to them as was given to them by another state. But what has won them over is certain things which the minister told: stability, perfect law and order, no one will come and disturb you. There is no, everything is done ethically, transparently. There is no lena dena, no one kind of troubles you. And in that particular state, again, I don't want to name any, that state or so, but just a few months ago, roughly about a year ago, workers had gone and ransacked their factory there, causing almost 300-400 crores of damage there. So when they realized the bigger picture that you have to evaluate states much beyond incentives, look at the overall totality of the package, how stable the government is, how proactive, how helpful the entire machinery is, will they stand up to their word? It's very easy to say that everything is transparent, there's no lena dena, but is that the real industry experience also? So when they got into all these details, they realized that this is the best location to come and participate. And we have signed up with them. It's a big investment. They're investing almost 2,200 crores, creating thousands of jobs, bringing some very fantastic futuristic EV models and so on and so forth. So I guess this kind of sums up what Telangana offers and what is the value proposition that we offer in Telangana.
Yes, that's a very good insight because, again, if I can go back to the analogy that Minister and we were speaking about from terms of the customer perspective, something which is cheaper is not necessarily better. It's really the service that you offer. And for most companies, financial incentive and the financial cost is important, but the non-financial cost of operating in a location is often ignored. And as you very rightly pointed out, while the ranking of ease of doing business is not so relevant, the fact is that the atmosphere and the comfort that you get by working and saying, look, let me do my work in a conducive environment, and that is absolutely brilliant approach for a government to have. And therefore, I'm going to bring in Dilip in a second, but sometimes the problem is that at the senior level, at the state capital level, things are very good, but at the local level, the local bureaucracy becomes an issue. So my question to you is, as a senior officer as well, that what are the efforts that are required to ensure that all levels of bureaucracy are sensitized for this approach, because it needs a mindset change more than a process or a rule change.
Yes, yes, Pranjal. So absolutely correct. And obviously, this is a systemic change which takes time. Completely agree that people tend to be status quoist, and if they're used to a particular way of working and delivering, that remains with them, that becomes their second nature. But what also matters quite a lot in bringing a change is the spirit of the leadership. So the minister himself, when he mentioned that the government is very responsive, I think he was very modest. He ideally should have mentioned that he himself is the most responsive person. He's on numerous WhatsApp groups with different industry associations. He has everyone has his personal phone number. In fact, many times, even before they reach out to us, he has got to know of the issue. He is alerting us that this company wanted to visit. They have plans to do this, or someone has some existing industry has this issue to resolve. So he's more responsive than everyone else. And when that signal goes down the line, that the minister himself is very, very particular, that not even a day's delay should happen in responding to our all the inbound requests that come in. That sense of responsibility, that sense of time sensitivity that seeps in. And we have now seen this journey over the last 7 years. Maybe it took about six months to 1 year or so for this transformation to happen. But now everyone is very responsive, very alert. So Minister mentioned a while ago that we guarantee that all approvals and permissions are given in 15 days time. And if it does not happen in 15 days, we also levy a penalty on officers. So he did not share numbers, and we also don't kind of very publicly announce these things. But just to let you know, on 7 occasions, we have actually penalized officers for delays that have been caused. And of course, these are not large delays, maybe 2 days delay in some clearance, 4 days delay. So let us say I've taken 4,000 rupees from some officer, 7,000 rupees from some officer. So these are drops in ocean. If I take 4,000 rupees and let us say give it to a DHL or an Apple or a UB, I mean, these will be drops in the ocean, but it is a sense of accountability. I mean, I've made an assurance, I've made a promise. Am I standing up to it or not? So that sense of responsibility has come in. And obviously, there have been lots of reforms in the processes also. So earlier, a paper which need to be evaluated and examined and field visits conducted, which would take months altogether. The departments themselves have started relying more on technologies. Redundant processes have been done away with. And therefore, the change has really become quite stable and lasting in our government system now.
Thank you, Jayesh. And I'm now going to ask a question to Dilip. Since he's a friend of many, many years, I'm going to ask him a tough question, which is, Minister and Jayesh spoke about faith and respect, Dilip, but it's often broken by the industry. While we expect the government to behave in a certain way, we find that the industry, the sense is, the concept of access-based capitalism versus merit-based capitalism. And that's something which India, again, has a serious problem of, which is that companies are constantly trying to undermine the rules, do shortcuts, get ahead of others, find somebody who can change the rules for them, give them approvals on a fast track basis or illegal, access. And that's something, if we have to build that mutual faith and respect between industry and the government, there is a huge responsibility on the industry as well. We cannot expect the government to do everything and the industry constantly trying to undermine. Do you think now that, with a lot of these IBC frameworks coming into the picture, that industry is now realizing that they also have to play by the rules and focus on making themselves competitive rather than getting ahead by undermining rules or, bending the rules, as it were?
I think, Pranjal, thank you. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here at PAFI. I think there are three things that I just want to say before I answer your question, Pranjal. First of all, I'm really seeing the change in Hyderabad from 1967 till now. I'm an actually insider in one sense. Second, I think I've not ever missed a session that PAFI has had with Mr. K.T. Ramarao, including taking flack with him in IHC when I raised an issue about some land being taken from a particular school in Hyderabad there, but it was responded. The third thing is that I'm also insider to PAFI, and I've really been with you guys since its inception. But I actually feel, and this is really an agenda for PAFI, right? Because the starting of the, every company or every person, will like to go and ask and tweak a rule to benefit itself, right? And that is the starting point. And that's what puts governments like Telangana and officers like Jayesh in a difficult situation. So the example that he gave of Triton, where, they got less incentive and they got, this thing. I mean, whoever the public affairs person of that organization who advised his CEO actually did a very human service, not only to the public affairs professional fraternity, but also to the whole thing. But what actually happens is a lot of us in the profession, right, go and say, okay, let's ask for this extra mile, let's ask for this extra thing, let us, do this way. So a lot of that actually stems when companies want, to get an, extra kind of a thing from government. Now, what is happening because of clarity, because of, transparency, because of, putting everything out in the public domain, I think some states like Telangana have actually, created new benchmarks. There are other states also in some areas that have done some work. The central government is also actually doing that. So the fundamental thing and the onus literally here is, like the minister gave PAFI an agenda, to espouse the cause of a state, right? There is an agenda for PAFI to say, as public affairs professionals, how do we, play by the rules? How do we, become transparent and we repose the trust and respect that governments actually put into us and give it back to government? I think that is very, very important, right? And now, since there's so little that anything could be done, and the amount of digitization that has happened in the economy, the amount of transparency there's in the economy is getting more difficult. And I think the minister said something very interesting, and he had mentioned to us in an earlier conversation also, how do you collaborate to compete, right? You need to know, we're not competing amongst ourselves, we're competing with other countries. So how do we collaborate? How do we bring confidence and certainty, and absolutely, move away from crony capitalism, if that's the thing which you're doing. And I think even industry is getting more responsive. But many a time, I believe that the thing starts in what is termed as a corporate affairs thing, or in the general counsel's thing, saying that, hey guys, let's do this. And then it becomes, because I think all that is, the CEO is blind to it till such time. So I think as an organization, and since the PAFI conference, right? And the other thing which actually mentioned by another colleague of Jayesh Ranjan's in an earlier PAFI annual meeting was, we don't go to government with a consensus of all stakeholders. So, if we go to government with a consensus of all stakeholders, right, then it's easy for the government to act. If you only take one stakeholder and present that view, then the other stakeholders kind of, have a different perception. It becomes difficult for governments to take a view there. So that's the second thing. And even for organization FICCI, we need to look at, come beyond industry and look at getting a consensus among different stakeholders and, giving a roadmap to both the civil servants in government and to the elected representatives, so they can actually move faster. Sorry, Pranjal, for a longish answer, but I just thought that, that's a very different answer than I thought you were expecting.
No, Dilip, it's good to know that. And, let me draw a parallel, and I'm sure Jayesh will appreciate it, that Minister said something, again, very deep, which is that Telangana is not competing with Tamil Nadu. Telangana is competing with other countries. So which means that Telangana has the heart and the interest of the country in mind. Similarly, when a company goes seeking investments or incentives or anything else from any government, it should look at it from an industry perspective and not from only that individual company's perspective. And I think this is very, very critical. If Telangana can think for the country, why can't a company think for the industry? Jayesh, any thoughts on that?
No, completely agree. And when the minister said so, it is based on actual example, actual experience. So, for example, there is a Korean company. We have succeeded in getting their investment. And the Korean company is one of the largest, perhaps the largest manufacturer of winter wear. In fact, their claim to fame is that if you go to any winter Olympics, almost 60 to 80% of the athletes will be wearing clothing, the sports clothing, which they manufacture. So it's a company called Young One. And what they told us was that they were looking at India for almost a decade. And they were very apprehensive when they met us. Incidentally, it was an event curated by Government of India called Textiles India, where we met them. Honorable Minister gave a presentation on Telangana, and this gentleman, the chairman of the company, was in the audience. And he felt very compelled with this kind of vision that was portrayed before him. And he has signed up. He's setting up 8 factories, incidentally. So whatever time he lost in India in figuring out India, he's trying to make up for it in one go by setting up 8 factories, one after the other. But there are certain things which we still have not been able to resolve. So, for example, under our income tax laws, you have to start paying taxes within, let us say, 2 years. And his plea is that our country will not start making profits till, let us say, 4 years or 5 years. So can you do something to defer this income tax, which is just not in our hands? I mean, the state government has no role in deciding what the income tax rates will be. We did tell him that we will speak to the government of India, but at some point in time, it was almost becoming a deal breaker that we are not going to give them that kind of an assurance. And finally, we had to compensate them by telling that this is not in our hands, but whatever income tax you are paying in the first 2 years, we will try to compensate it in some other way. So that really kind of tied our hands. So if you have a national perspective, you should look at some certain of these things which are very customized. Virat is there. I don't want to kind of be too specific about his company's issues, but they are also having lots of challenges with the national government, which we are also trying to raise in different forums. We are willing again to go out of the way, whatever their company is not able to get through Government of India. We are willing to compensate for that. But eventually, this is not a very sustainable model, nor in the national interest also.
Thank you, Jayesh. We could speak for another half an hour at least, but I'm now going to request Anand to deliver his closing remarks. It's been a fascinating discussion, and thank you, Jayesh, for being so candid. Over to you, Anand.
Yeah, thank you, Pranjal. And it's always a exciting time to be with the government of Telangana and Jayesh. So I have interacted with the government in probably multiple capacities. Earlier as Walmart Chief Corporate Affairs, and now in UB. And I think as a closing remark, I'll say that I'm one of those who have been the beneficiary of the steady policy making of Telangana government. And I think all the points that has been said, what is much more important is that all the factors of production is being taken care of Telangana government in a very consistent manner. So whether it is labor, whether it is land, whether it is the availability of resources, water, and being seen as a government where we can go and confide and trust. I mean, what the minister has said and what Jayesh has said, that they're only a WhatsApp away, is something which I have experienced from my own, last 3 years of interaction with the Telangana government in terms of investment. I think the challenge that will be, and one realizes when you are at the top, is to continue to be at the top. And I think that way Telangana government has done a great thing by putting its competitive spirit and not competing with the states of India, but in competing with countries like China, Indonesia, Malaysia, where there is a much more enabling policy environment. And yes, that's the way forward to stay at the top. I think two things which both Honorable Minister and Jayesh pointed out is that not just attracting the new investment, but what about our trusted long-time partners? I mean, particularly at United Breweries in last decade, we have invested 600 crores in Telangana alone, creating thousands of jobs and a lot of activities on CSR and all. And what has happened is that long-term partners, they also require that kind of a support, which keeps that, because of dynamic environment, keeps changing. For last 2 years, I think pandemic has hit all of us in multiple ways, and I've been very seeing the encouraging approach of Telangana government in trying to engage with all the industry players and not individual companies to expand the industry, so that merit-based competitiveness gets promoted. I mean, if the industry is expanded, then the player which is best in the industry can take advantage of the congenial policy environment. So, this is a time where I would definitely like to thank the Telangana government on behalf of PAFI for being the partner of PAFI. And we have taken note of the request made by the Honorable Minister to evangelize some of the very innovative clinics or corporations that you have set up. I mean, there is a fatigue that happens in the investment, and there is a requirement of support of SMEs, MSMEs, which state government itself is providing, and we should be availing this opportunity. Yes, I think Telangana definitely is the place to be for multiple companies. And I think the challenge that is going to be there for Honorable Minister and the bureaucracy of the state is how to continue to be, out competing several other states which keep, thinking of new innovative ways of attracting the investors. So, yeah, I would like to say that thank you so much for being with us and for supporting all the stakeholders of the business and building the spirit of partnership and trust, which is the key to the national growth and the position which India, rightfully should claim in the world. Thank you so much. Pranjal, over to you.
Thank you. So I think with this, we'd like to end the session, and once again, thank everybody for taking time. So back to Ajay.
He's not there. I think so. I think the session will end near the lockdown.
So
log off.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Jayesh. Thank you.
Very nice session. Hope to see you sometime.
Yeah, we are working on your meetings in Dubai.
Yes. We'll be there on 10th and 11th. Thank you. Bye, everyone.